Hi everyone, my name is Sterling and welcome to another episode of Tuesday Tricks. There are so many things in life that I'm thankful for and so many people that I'm grateful towards. But there are often times in all of our lives when we can feel hurt as well. As we interact with others, as we share in the many joys of life, hurt is unavoidable. But I want to tell you that it's always okay to feel sad. Maybe it's something that someone did to us to hurt us. Or perhaps it's something that someone said to us that hurts us. Or perhaps it's something that we even did ourselves. All of these things are unavoidable as we go through life together. But the most important thing is not to carry that weight. It's very important to give it away. And there's one very special way to do that, and that is through forgiveness. You see, when we forgive ourselves, when we forgive others, that is what opens the door to healing. And through healing, we can feel restored and renewed. Thank you, and welcome to Tuesday Tricks. So to learn this trick, you're going to need some Kleenex. Get a few just while you're practicing, of course, so you can practice with multiple Kleenex. You need something like a receptacle. This can be like a top hat or a bucket or like a briefcase, something that you can take it out of. It could even be a Kleenex box, honestly. And then I like to use a magic wand as well, just to add a little bit of magic to it. So you'll need something to use like this. This could be a pen or anything really. Just get those objects, magic wand, you need a bucket of some kind, and a Kleenex, and then we're ready to begin. So this is something that was actually shown to me by a kid after a magic show that I did here in Cabo, and he came up to me afterwards and he begged me, he said, let me show you a trick, let me show you a trick. And so I said yes, and we had a whole audience around the table, and he showed me a magic trick, and he took a Kleenex, took a tissue, and he torn it up, and he restored it again. I think he was really inspired by the torn and restored newspaper that I do in my show. The method was completely different, and I thought this would be a great thing to pass on to other young children. So I asked him if I could teach it, and he said yes. So this is how to perform the torn and restored napkin. The secret is really interesting. I love this because when you go up to a friend's house, you can ask to borrow one Kleenex, and then you need to do some preparation, and then you're ready to start the trick. Kleenexes, they have plies, or they have multiple layers to them. So what you can do to prepare is you take a Kleenex, and it might be 2-ply or 3-ply, something like that, and you actually find the edge on where those Kleenex connect, and you just very gently pull those apart, just like this. And look, it's like the multiplying Kleenex trick. So now you have duplicate Kleenex. You might have one that's 3-ply, so you might want to do that again so you can have pieces that look the same when you restore it. So the trick is that you have a duplicate Kleenex and you switch them without the audience knowing. So once you're prepared, you have duplicate Kleenex. One is in your bucket or your receptacle, whatever you're using. It could actually be like a Kleenex box. You could prepare it ahead of time. Your wand or whatever you're using to make the magic happen is inside, and then you have a duplicate piece which is rolled up into a ball, and it is placed into the finger palm position. And we talked about finger palm position in an earlier video, but just to refresh, you roll it up like this and you hide it in your 3 fingers and your middle ring and pinky finger like this. And so you have these fingers free to grab things, to gesture, and you keep that hidden at all times, okay? So the very easy way to set this up is if you start it in your right hand, and then you can talk, and then you go and you reach in and you pull out that Kleenex like this. If you want to be a little bit more technical, it's a little bit more risky, but it just adds some illusion to showing your hands empty. When you go to reach for the Kleenex, you can show your hand empty like this as you pick it up, because it's in the other hand. I use this hand, these 2 fingers, to roll up a sleeve like this. And then what I do is I pass the Kleenex to my other hand. And as I do that, I pass the ball as well. So I pass the ball into my right hand and the Kleenex into my left hand to switch those as I roll up this sleeve like that. And that's just a nice way of showing your hands clean. That will take some practice. Practice in the mirror lots and lots and lots. I wear a white shirt too, which is kind of nice to do this because if it does happen to flash between your fingers, something like that, it can always be attributed to the shirt perhaps. So it comes with some risk, but there are ways to alleviate that. You continue with your story, whatever your story may be. The story was inspired by service on Sunday. We talked about forgiveness, and I thought that was a perfect way to demonstrate with a magic trick. So I like to tell stories with my magic, so that's the story that I chose. You can use any story that you like though. Match your hands, make sure that your hands are like this. One of them has a ball in finger palm, the other one's just empty, but match it anyways. You don't want to do this because this looks kind of suspicious. So match your hands, and then you start to tear. Now when you start to tear, you're going to notice that it tears very easily one direction, and that's called going with the grain, because it's made of paper, so it tears easier a certain way. If I were to tear this piece the other direction, it goes all lopsided like that. If it starts doing that, just stop your tear and then do a quarter turn, so now it's the correct direction, and then tear, and now you'll see it tears into nice even strips like that. And that's what you want, because that looks much better than just the chaos of all these random pieces of paper. I usually tear it 3 times. 3 is a great number for doing things. So I tear it once, I tear it twice into 2 strips in each hand. Make sure you match your hands. Don't hold this hand empty like this and this hand is closed. That looks suspicious. Both hands are closed the same way with the hidden piece in your right hand. And then I put all the pieces together and I do one more tear just right down the middle. And when I do that, I can show my hands like this, and then I start to take those torn pieces and I squish them into a ball. And as I squish them into a ball like this, I can take those torn pieces like that, and I can show this hand empty. The position is now torn pieces between your thumb and index finger, and the restored pieces, or your whole Kleenex, is in finger palm still. So you're in a position like this, okay? What we're going to do next is called a shuttle pass, or a false transfer. Okay, and what's going to happen is I need to find a way to switch the torn pieces for the whole piece. And here's how I do that. Under the cover of my hand, when I move to place the pieces into my other hand, I place my thumb on top of those torn pieces so that they're both inside of my fist like this. The torn pieces are on top and the whole piece is on bottom. My thumb goes over the torn pieces to keep them in position, and then at the same time, I open my hand to deposit the whole pieces into my left hand. So the whole piece goes into my left hand, and the torn pieces are now retained in my right hand like this. And so the torn pieces are here, you roll them into a ball. You can show the ball like this. You put it into your fist, thumb goes on top so the torn pieces don't fall. You open your hand, keeping the back of your hand towards the audience, towards their eyes, so they don't see this. Very important. So just really quickly, so you can see it in fast motion, roll into a ball, show your hand empty, pass the pieces over, and then I just do a little subtlety. I just roll up my sleeve a little bit more like that, just to make sure that I can position this ball into my hand, and then that hand just goes and rests down here like that. And then you show those pieces like this. So the audience thinks these pieces are torn. And you want to make sure that you get rid of these torn pieces as soon as possible. And the way I do that is with using a magic wand. The wand doesn't actually have magic, of course, but that's the thing that we use to use our secrets sometimes. So pieces are here, and then I say, but the most important thing is that we add forgiveness. And so that's when I go over here to my receptacle. I grab the wand, and as I move my hand down to grip the wand at a lower spot, my fingers just open up when my hand is inside, and they just toss those torn pieces right into the receptacle. So you don't want to do it too high, otherwise this happens, and then they get to see that. So make sure that you reach really low on the wand, and then you drop those pieces in, and then your hand can come up like this, and now you're totally clean. You wave the wand over the pieces in your left hand, and then you can set the wand down because now it's just revealing what you've done, okay? And so now very slowly, very, very slowly, you want to open up those pieces, okay? Very slowly, just open up that piece. If you do it too fast, it might tear, and you don't want it to tear. But when you open it slowly, the audience is always going, is it really restored? is it really restored? Because it's hard to tell when it's small, but as it gets bigger and bigger, the audience sees the result of what you're doing. And now they're looking for torn pieces because it was torn, now it's whole. So if there was a switch, then where were the torn pieces? And that's when you can just show both sides of the Kleenex nice and free. Hands are empty, you can give this out to examine, and the reveal on the end of your story, and you've got the torn and restored napkin. Thank you again for watching this episode of Tuesday Tricks. One of the reasons that I love performing magic so much is because of all the stories that you get to tell, and I love telling reality through illusion. If you need any help or any performance tips, just let me know in the comments below or send me a message directly. I'd be happy to help. Once again, thank you for coming. And this was Tuesday Tricks. See you next week.